you. Thank you so much for joining us. Francois, please have a seat. Yassir, thank you. Nice to meet you. Oh, nice to meet you again. I think you missed the selfie. We had a really fun thing going around here. We had a nice selfie with the audience. I'm not sure if we will recreate that, but you missed it. So I wanted to really start with Yassir. Yassir, we talked a lot about the issue of investment, especially around digital innovation, around research, among others. And really wanted to ask you, because your company has been also investing a lot on that. And I wanted to just want you to share more, because digital technology is often presented as a major driver of economic transformation for Africa. What investments and technological choices are needed today to build networks capable of supporting Africa's growth?
So thank you for having me. I hope we'll have a selfie also maybe by the end. First, to start with, digital technology is not only becoming, but it's the primary fuel for economic growth in Africa. And you know, nowadays, fuel is very expensive. So, I mean, digital is a bit more affordable, let's put it like that. Having said so, I think it's very important to realize also that Africa is a bit different than the rest of the world. What we see in Africa, that with each 10 points of mobile penetration improvement, we see a 2% improvement in the GDP growth, which is not the same as the mature market, which is only half of that. So it's double what we see in the rest of the world. Why is that? Africa is a mobile-first technology. Africa is a young continent. Africa is a growing continent. Of course, it has challenges. It has challenges like illiteracy rate that is a bit high compared to the rest. And it has, of course, an opportunity of 45% unbanked population. So I guess we'll discuss with that also with Francois. So it is a challenge, but it's also a great opportunity. And what we see in order to take this advantage is that you need to invest and invest and invest. Invest in connectivity, invest in data centers, invest in youth and people and talent, invest in everything that's around mobile and mobile financing, because again, this is a huge market. Today we have more than 45 million customers just using mobile financing and bank. We have a bank that we own in Côte d'Ivoire that is serving Africa. And we'll continue to invest also in everything that is related to e-health, to applications, local languages. You have to understand that Africa has more languages than most of the rest of the world. So you need to ensure that you have these local languages that are based on AI. I'm sitting by myself on the AI Council, which is on the African Union, and we do a lot of activities to ensure that we have the right level of local languages that are put in place. So to conclude, I think we need to continue investing in everything that's related to digital, because it is the economy, it is the infrastructure of tomorrow.
Yep.
And I really believe in Africa, as I always say, in its future, in its people, and it's tomorrow.
Definitely. You believe in Africa's future, Africa's people, and obviously, as you mentioned, we need to ensure we're investing in connectivity, we're investing in data, we're investing in youth, and we're also investing in science. And I was having a brief conversation with Jens, our board chair, ahead of the meeting, and I was ahead of this session, and I was telling him that Yassir is going to be one of the speakers today. And I asked, have you ever heard about Orange? And he was like, yeah. Everyone knows about Orange, because whenever I go to Senegal, I actually also use the Orange SIM. So it's really great to also hear about what you are investing on and some of the things that we really need to invest more as a continent. And that would bring me to Francois. Francois, Proparco focuses on investing and mobilizing private capital for development in Africa. Can you talk us through how Proparco operates on the continent and what proportion of its portfolio touches the agriculture, the blue economy, and energy transition? And just a side note, I learned that you are also going to be participating in the Africa Forward Summit, which is happening this May in Nairobi, and you are a co-organizer of the Business Forum. And also Orange is going to be there as a participant. So I really want to really understand how we can invest and do more on these different sectors. We have mic issues.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, back. Yeah.
Thank you so much. First of all, thank you for inviting me. More than happy to join this Africa for Change session. There are many questions in your question, so
Yes.
I will try to answer all of them, even partially. Let me start by saying or reminding you that Propaco and Africa is really at the heart of Propaco strategy. We've been working alongside the African private sector for 50 years now. Through a large range of financial and non-financial instruments. And we've been active in many sectors like agriculture, agribusiness, blue economy to a lesser extent, and energy transition, but also many others, and including, of course, health, education, and digital infrastructure, even if Yassir is of course, better positioned than I am to talk about that. Propaco commits around between 1 billion and 1.2 billion euro per year on the African continent. When it comes to agriculture and agribusiness, Propaco focuses mainly on strengthening the agro value chains. We do that by financing local players, especially when it comes to increasing local processing capacities. Secondly, by supporting financial institutions that are very active in the agri-space through dedicated approaches. And we also deploy specific and dedicated tools to facilitate intra-African and international trades in terms of agro-commodities. In the aftermath of the war in Ukraine, we have increased dramatically this capacity. We have committed close to 600 million euros in the agri-space, in the agri-business on the African continent over the last 3 years. Focusing on energy transition. Of course, Propaco is highly supporting energy transition, is highly supporting the development of the huge renewable energy potential of the African continent, be it wind, solar, but also hydroelectricity and biomass. Spanning from financing big renewable energy facilities to mini-grids, solar home systems, and also providing green energy solutions for critical infrastructure like telecom towercos. And let me finish. Thank you for inviting me to say a word about the Africa Forward Summit. So this summit will take place in Nairobi in May. And it will be really designed to highlight the contributions of African and French companies in renewing the relations between Africa and France. So Propaco is co-organizing the Business Forum on May 11th, and after that there will be a more political summit, and we are expecting around 2,000 participants, among which, of course, Orange. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Francois, for sharing that. And we really look forward to hearing more updates about the summit, but especially seeing young people part of the discussion and also some of the solutions that are going to be presented. And you also shared how, obviously, your company has been working in the continent for 50 years now, and how you have been able to facilitate tools, especially in inter-Africa Africa trades for African commodities, and how you are supporting the energy transition, especially through renewable energy support, among others. So it's really great to hear that, and also some of the other things that are also happening on the sideline. And that will bring me back to Yassir. So one of the major challenges, obviously, remains digital access, especially in rural areas. You've mentioned the issue of connectivity and the issue of data and the issue of science, and we obviously understand how this is a challenge in rural communities in Africa. How can we accelerate this connectivity to avoid a digital divide?
I think this is a very important question. First of all, let's be very clear in technology. There is no one size fits all. You cannot have, let's give an example of cars. You cannot have the same, let's assume there is a bus, there is a 4x4 SUV, and there is a normal sedan car. And it's not the same use of the same. If you use a bus to go only have one person inside of it, it's not the right solution. Same if you take a Ferrari into a desert, it will not serve you a lot. So I think the best solution is that to understand that we have in technology many solutions. We have 4G, we have 5G, we have fiber, we have satellites. And the problem of access, and I like a lot the word access, because it's not only connectivity. Access is about connectivity, devices, and also ensuring that you have, in a way, the right level of application, everything that goes around it. So first of all, let's start by everything that we're doing on the part of accessibility. We ensure that we built more than 15,000 sites in the next coming 3 years, just to ensure that we have the right level of coverage in the areas. However, again, and building again on this, it's not only about coverage. The second point that is very important is to have the devices. Because a lot of people think that in rural, most of the customers that are not using mobile are not using it because they don't have coverage. On the contrary, we have 90% in our footprint of the population that are already covered. However, you have a big part of the population, so close to 60% of the population still did not use internet. So this means that, in fact, that most of the people, a big portion of the people who are not using internet are already covered. This means that they are not having the affordability to buy devices, to buy smartphones, and so on. This is why we work a lot with investment funds, with the devices provider to ensure that they are able to access these devices, either through installment programs, through government to reduce the taxes, and so on. And then the third point that is very important is energy. I heard a lot today discussions about energy, but today energy is very important because if you don't have enough to charge your phone, you will not be able to use the. So we're selling, in fact, kits that enable customers to use and to have electricity at their home. And today, we're proudly providing close to 1 million customers with this solution of Orly Energy. And again, maybe to give you some numbers about Orange, because you said we exist in more than 18 countries. We invest this year, close to 1.5 billion euros only in CapEx each year, putting aside licenses, putting aside OpEx. We have a lot of human capital that we're investing in, and we continue to invest, to continue to invest in. We have over 180 million mobile customers. So again, it's a very big reach, and we're very proud to be in Africa. And the usage gap is today not really around coverage, it's more around everything that comes with coverage. So devices and also energy.
Yeah. Indeed, thank you so much, Yassir, for highlighting that. Access is not just about connectivity, but it's also about devices. And the fact that you already have over 180 million mobile customers is something that is quite remarkable. And also the number of countries that actually Orange is already existing and providing support in these different sectors. So thank you so much for that. And I'll come back to you, Francois. So Africa receives less than 14 billion per year in adaptation finance against an estimated need of more than 100 billion. Kamal touched briefly on that, on the issue of the climate finance gap. What is the most credible mechanism today for closing the climate finance gap, and how do public and private sector actors divide the work?
Thank you. I think that the climate finance gap is both on mitigation and on adaptation. But you're right, I think we, on the mitigation side, we have made good progress, even if we have to stay, of course, consistent and to renew our efforts on that side. But we've made good progress, especially by financing and supporting the deployment of new renewable energy capacities, but not only, also supporting energy efficiency and also greener industry on the continent and greener transportation. We also see in that space a good collaboration between financial players, not only public development banks, but also development finance institutions, commercial banks, and investment funds. We see good complementarity, for instance, when public sector oriented players foster market and regulatory reforms, and with private sector oriented players supporting and providing long-term financing and low price financing for financing mitigation projects. But you're right as well, when it comes to adaptation, the story I think is a bit different. You have, you said it a bit earlier in the conversation, Africa is, only accounts for less than 4% of CO2 emissions worldwide, whereas it bears the highest cost of climate change. Probably because the bankability of adaptation projects in the short run is seen as more questionable for private investors. But two positive inputs in that conversation, I think. First of all, we are looking more and more for common ground. Common criteria, common frameworks. For instance, development finance institutions have launched an international partnership called ARIC, Adaptation and Resilience Investor Collaborative, to boost private investment in the adaptation and resilience space. Second element, we see growing awareness of climate risks in assessing credit risks. So it makes me confident that adaptation will be more and more seen not as an issue to be financed, but more and more as embedded in the credit process, and more as a mitigant to credit risks.
Yeah. Definitely. Thank you so much, Francois. You mentioned how important it is that we have more private sector investment and involvement in not only climate finance, but also adaptation finance. Because we have few seconds to go. I would like you to take, I don't know how we can work on this timing, but 10 seconds for each of you. If you could ask one specific ask to everyone in this room here, whether a policymaker, an investor, or a change maker, what would it be? 10 seconds.
Okay, 10 seconds. I would say, if not harmonization, at least convergence. Convergence of frameworks, regulations, to facilitate co-financing, to facilitate collaboration and coordination between financial players.
Thank you so much, Francois. In 10 seconds, what do you have to say to everyone?
I think she said it in a very nice way. I'll say it more blunt. We treat Africa as it is one, and it is not one. And we need it to be one. So we need to have this similar, at least convergence, as you said, on regulations. We need to ensure that we have the same rules somewhere or the other, maybe same taxing system. We need to, by a way or other, ensure this. Africa is a young continent. It's not, as they say, it's not a segment where you sell to someone young. It is the market. So it is the future. So I really believe that with the AI that is coming and with all the investment, if we want to take it, we cannot have it in each country.
Okay.
We need to ensure that we have this framework in place.
Thank you so much, Yassir and Francois.